City of Tampa's Barrio Latino Commission. Welcome, everybody. I'm Juan Ricardes, Chair of the Commission. If you are here to present a project, you will have limited time to make your presentation, so we suggest being thorough but concise. When coming to the microphone, you will need to identify yourself and your relationship to the project. The commissioners will not ask any questions during your presentation. Your project should be presented in the following order: site plan, elevations, architectural details, and wall sections. Staff presents report. We will then ask for public comment. Following your presentation, the commissioners will be asking questions in the same order as the presentation. Please state and spell your name clearly if you are here to speak for or against the project. Your time will be limited to 3 minutes, so take some time now to summarize your comments because 3 minutes goes by very quickly. Following public comment, the applicant will have 5 minutes for review. The public hearing will then be closed. The only comments which will be allowed after the public hearing is closed will be in response to any questions from the commissioners. The commissioners will then discuss the case and will make their decisions based on the city ordinance, chapter 27 of city zoning code, the design guidelines, the Secretary of Interior standards, design review comments, and the testimony given at the public hearing. The BLC can only act on items that are within our specific jurisdictional responsibility. Owners' agents are independently responsible to obtain any appropriate permits and/or approvals. If you haven't already done so, please silence all your cell phones. I want to introduce my commissioners, starting from my left.
Good morning, I'm Christopher Vella.
Good morning, I'm Eric Schiller.
Jose Chalot, leaving Win.
From legal,
Rebecca Kurt, Legal Department.
and we have from staff, Dennis Fernandez, Ron Villa, and Beverly Shusek. We're opening the first. We'll go to review the minutes first.
Yeah, review the previous minutes.
So we have a chance to review those.
Move to approve minutes from February 26, 2019.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. We have a second set of minutes from March the 5th as well.
Okay, we want to review the minutes from March 26th?
March the 5th.
5th.
Yeah. Move to approve minutes from March 5th, 2019.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Good morning, Commissioners. Dennis Fernandez, Architecture Review and Historic Preservation Manager. I have no announcements, but I do have the BLC administrative approvals to turn into the record, and we can move on to the disclosure of ex parte communication and conflicts of interest, if any. Ron.
Good morning, Commissioners. Ron Vila, I'm staff with Historic Preservation. Under agenda item number 7, if any commissioner has a conflict or participating in ex parte communication, they may do so now and put that information onto the record. Seeing and hearing none, we'll move to the swear-in. Everybody who wishes to testify, including staff, please stand up and raise your right hand.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you provided this morning is the truth and nothing but the truth?
I do. Thank you, Ms. Jusak. Moving to the first case that's reflected on the agenda is BLCT, which indicates that's in for a tax ad valorem review. 19-03 is the case number. This is for the address of 1715 East Columbus Drive. The contributing structure was constructed in 1920. It's moving to the YC2 zoning classification. It's a fairly larger structure. It's about 2,800 square foot and the craftsman style theme. And this is in front of you this morning for a pre-construction ad valorem tax exemption. This case has a little bit of history, and I'd like to run through that with you. Just take a couple of minutes. This is the structure at its home site prior to the relocation. It was on 9/16 14th Avenue, which faces the interstate today. I like to always use the Sanborn map as a tool. This is 1929, obviously prior to the interstate. The interstate would be in this location here. You see the fabric of and the density that Ybor City had. So this was the home site I'll refer to, and then it's going to the receiving site. So it made the trip over, but I wanted to share some pictures with you as it sat at the home site, as I stated, at 916 14th Avenue. This was the front elevation, grand home. On the porch, you have the door package that was in place, but modified slightly in this side light. But you had a high-end transom with the leaded glass, side lights, and the door. Once again, very elaborate pattern on the windows, multi-pane over a single. The original casing was there and screens. Moving to one of the side elevations, has the bump out, the fireplace was in place. And then the structure was converted to many units in the past, so they had secondary means of egress as and exterior stairs on the building, and this was on the east side. So you'll see some current pictures that some of these appendages were left off when it made the move. This is a more current aerial showing the interstate here, the home site, and once again where it's going to Columbus Drive, 1715 East Columbus Drive. Share some photos with you of the move. It's a labor of love, what happens here. As part of the agreement with FDOT of widening the interstate and the city of Tampa moving these structures to city-owned property, we were able to turn kind of a negative with the widening of the interstate, how it bisected the historic district into a positive, and create a trust fund. And that trust fund, you'll see in a minute how we created an alley. Some more pictures of just the house on the I-beams moving down the street. And lastly, there's a lot of agencies that are involved with TICO, with natural resources, with the police, cordoning off the streets as this moves forward. This is our vicinity map. This is Columbus Drive. This is 17th Street and 18th Street as it goes north and south. The owners that are wishing to come forwad with this ad valorem today, they own this structure as well. They own the parking, the building that they renovated and received an ad valorem for it, and then bought some more land here to encompass all their parking within their site. As part of what I talked about with the trust fund money, with that agreement through the FDOT and the city of Tampa, we were able to create this alley. It's very difficult for somebody going down Columbus Drive to enter into these parcels. So with this alley that we created through that money that was received, we relocated this house, and next month you'll see another new construction being requested here. So it's going to activate this street. Condition of the alley was just, it hadn't been vacated, but it was unimproved. So as we work forward with that trust fund money to do a base here and engineer the alley, a little bit more as the alley is getting finished, and then how it looks today. It's a paved alley that will aid those parcels that front Columbus Drive. And just to conclude, these are some of the photos currently at the receiving site. This structure is being renovated currently. They are working with staff for the exterior of the building, so you're going to see some pictures prior of the building, how it looked, and you'll see some progress of what they're doing. They have some history that they're going to share with you today as well, that's with a family that lived here. But you see some of the improvements here, and they're doing line for line restoration. Whatever the members were and the dimensions of the materials, they're going back to those. This one here, you see that the exterior stairs were removed, and they're just going to put a window up there. There won't be no access up to the upper level. That concludes the photo presentation. At this time, I'm going to have the agent come forward.
name is Andy Dolman. Can you guys hear me okay?
I think there is a microphone, right?
Oh, okay. Good morning. My name is Andy Dolman. I'm the CEO of Design Styles Architecture. As Ron mentioned, we own the building that's across the street and had the pleasure of watching the city move the house over to their property across the street, and actually have a time-lapse photography of the house move on our website, so people can watch it move from one place to another. Just make sure I get. So as Ron mentioned, we're located on 1715 East Columbus. This gives you an orientation of what the site looked like before the house was there. This gives you an orientation, an idea of how the house how it sits on the lot and what the improvements are for the driveway. As Ron mentioned, with the alley, it gives us the ability to drive through the lot, so we can gain access to that rear, makes it a lot easier. This gives you an idea of the floor plan, how it's situated. Basically, our intent is to restore the house back to a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house. To give you an idea, this gives you some exterior, what it looks like when it got delivered, and this kind of gives you a rendering of what we're doing to the house and its improvements. We actually had the ability to, in the East Tampa CRA, the person that we've been working with on the Passad grant was actually got connected with the original owner of the building. So we actually had, the guy is 92 years old. He was born in the house. He was the child of the mother and father that lived in the house. So it was pretty cool. He came and saw the house. He thought the house was torn down. I had about a half a dozen family members, walked him through the house and told us what the house used to look like and told us about some of the interior finishes. So in doing so, he actually even brought up some old photos of the house back in probably like the 50s, 40s. So we found out there was a window in the gable end that neither Ron or I realized, and actually putting back that original window to the gable end. We take pride in the projects that we work on. We do a lot of renovations. Our building right now is currently, we put it on historical tours. So we put the house on historical tours. We will continue to do so. So we're very intent on trying to remodel the house and make it period correct. The rendering, like I said, to the right gives you an idea of what it's going to look like. To Ron's point, we're literally just taking off stuff that's been added to the house over the years and rebuilding pieces so it looks like it used to back in the day. The building originally had the beadboard ceilings. We're going back and putting back the beadboard ceilings to match what was originally there. The front doors, we're actually having the front door shot. The side light is in good condition. We're having a new front door made. And then we're having the leaded glass taken out of the side light, sent to a lady in Mount Dora. She's going to make a matching side light, and then make the leaded glass for the door. So the intent is everything will be a direct match of what used to be there. There was a side door that was on the side of the house that had a little wear and tear. We're having a new door made to match what was there. All of the windows, most of the windows are intact. We're actually going to take some of the windows and move them into other parts of the building where we had some 1960s windows and taking those out. All of the windows will be taken out of the building. All the sashes will be completely redone. All the glass will be taken out. It'll be reglazed, repainted, and then new windows, new pulleys, new rope put back into the home. So the idea is to make all the 100-year-old windows work. So the outside of the house is 100% looks like it did back in 100 years ago. We've got wood brackets that had termite damage. They're made out of heavy timbers, had them remade. So there's a lot of work that's going on inside, on the outside of the house. With regards to the interior design schemes, again, same concept. The original doors, we're looking at buying old doors to match the original doors that we have. So we're looking for about 9 doors to replace. Again, with old doors. The doorknobs, actually going to go back and put the the glass knobs throughout the house. Fireplace is actually original, so the intent is clean it up, fix it up. That's the original fireplace, point to it and says that's the original fireplace. The living room has got, has the fireplace in the back. It kind of gives you an inspiration of how we intend to restore all the beams, paint out the ceilings. So you start, the photo on the right starts to give you an idea once everything gets painted out, what it's going to look like. All the molding inside, all that will stay. The columns and features at the front are original, so we intend to keep all the columns, clean them up, and refinish them, repaint them. All the bookshelf pieces, that's all original. Tend to keep all that. Kitchen's got a 1960s kitchen that's been put in there. That's now gone, and plan to put back a new kitchen with shaker-style cabinets. Termites had a field day on the floors. So we were hoping to restore some of the floors, but not gonna happen. So we're actually putting all new wood floors throughout the house. Same thing with bathrooms. We got a 1960s window, that's gone. We're actually move one of the old windows into that place. The bathrooms get completely redone. One of the bathrooms right now doesn't even have a floor in it. All the wood framing was rotted. So we're putting in all new bathrooms, all the millwork, tile work, all the plumbing and everything is meant to be period correct. The moldings again, I've got places in some of the places the paint is holding the molding in place. So regretfully, so we're gonna end up getting all new molding. We did the same thing in our office, so we just had all millwork made. We actually had, we took some of the molding, salvaged it, had it made to match exactly what was there. So the intent, everything in there will be brand new, but it will be exact replica of what was there back in the day. Same thing with the baseboards. Again, here's just another photo of what the house is gonna look like on the outside. There's some renderings of the inside, what it'll look like once it's all cleaned up and fixed up. We're intending to put this on our historical tour next year, so we just had a couple hundred people come through, super excited, so definitely looking forward to coming back. Again, here's in the living room, looking back, you'll see the front door to the right, and you're looking into the dining room from the living room. This is the new kitchen. Those two windows over the kitchen sink are windows that we took on the back side of the house, and we're actually moving the 100-year-old windows. So we're putting two of those over the kitchen. So again, every single window in the house will be an original window. We're actually having some of the windows got totally destroyed, and we're having new windows made to match what was there. And then this is just one of the bedrooms. So that's our presentation. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you.
Thank you, Andy. Ron Villa, City of Tampa, with Historic Preservation staff. The ad valorem is a preservation tool, and some people try to enter in the program, and they're really not concerned about the historic fabric of the structure and taking it back. So you have to evaluate that, and in working with their team, I believe they're candidates for this. This application is consistent with the Secretary of Interior standards for rehabilitation. To enter into the ad valorem program, it stipulates that it has to be a contributing structure. It has to be in a local district, and that you spend more than $10,000. So he qualifies, and then you review it to see if it is a good choice of the program. As you move forward, we look at the character defining features that the house has. There's many features, but you call out between 10 and 12 as you come forward, so the board gets an understanding that it's a sensitive request. So as you move in through the front door, you look at the wood floors, you look at the built-ins, you look at the fireplace, the coffered ceilings, things of that nature. He talked to the owners that were there. Through further discussion, you could kind of go on site and kind of make out what had happened, 100 years ago, and what direction it needs to go into. There are some liberties. You see some more contemporary habitation in the kitchen. kitchens and baths are somewhere usually that you could get a little more contemporary and still meet the intent of the ad valorem. So I wanted to call that out. So I'm here to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have anyone here from public comment? Seeing none, we can start from my right.
Thanks for the presentation. Could you tell me how the walls are being refinished?
At this point in time, the walls are all plaster. I've got some places the plaster has fallen off the walls, and some places the ceiling, the plaster has fallen off the ceiling. Actually, what we're looking at doing, since we're gonna be putting in new trim work, is applying a drywall to cover up the plaster. It costs more to try and refinish. There's so much plaster damage. So we're looking at putting new drywall up, then new trim work that surrounds the 100-year-old doors and the 100-year-old windows.
Thank you. No further questions.
I have one more question. You say you're gonna replace all the floor. Is all reclaimed wood floor that you putting back?
No, actually, what we're putting down is, it's a white oak wood floor. So they're new wood floors, they're not reclaimed wood floors.
And it match what original was there? That was the same type of?
Yeah, the coloration of the floors is very similar to the coloration of the wood floors that were there.
Thank you.
Yeah, what's your intent with the upstairs, the attic space that was obviously an apartment?
We actually threw it all away. So we've literally have taken, I can't tell you how many dumpster loads of everything that was post 1916 has been ripped out of the house and tossed. So the attic will remain an attic as it was originally intended.
Is there a floor up there?
No. There's parts of an old floor that, but we've got rid of all the walls, everything.
Thank you.
Thanks for your presentation. So where the property is being relocated, is that still considered YC2?
Yes.
Okay. And then the intent of the structure itself is just to maintain as a residence for
That's-
private use?
That's the intent at this point in time. They're, as Ron mentioned, they're actually pretty excited. They're looking to build some homes right on the adjoining lots next to us.
Okay. And then as far as your connection off the alley, has that been already reviewed by transportation, or I was just curious because I don't see a lot of connections from the street to the alley in that manner. Is that something that you all have encountered in other lots in Ybor?
Well, one of the things Saran mentioned, they just improved the alley. It wasn't there. So what happens is, because of that, and we design a lot of older homes and stuff, that it gives you the opportunity to put the garage on the back side of the lot, and you can enter into if you had a garage, you can enter into from the alleyway. For us, it works out well because you're able to pull off of Columbus, which is one way, and the traffic at times can be quick.
Okay.
So it gives it easy ingress, and then you can egress out onto the alleyway.
All right. And then was there, while you were looking, or obviously you moved the property and you've done a lot of study to it, was there any type of mechanical, like old mechanical equipment in there, meaning like for venting? And if there was anything found, is that going to be restored? I'm not sure if that fits in that specific period, but
No,
knowing
actually,
one of the older properties.
what happens is all the mechanical stuff is rusted, rotted, since been replaced. We've actually found some old switches, the push button switches, that we're actually going to keep. So like I said, we put our office on historical tours. I told Ron and Dennis, you can buy anytime you want. We can buy people to show them, hey, you can bring these buildings back to life. So we intend to do the same thing with the house, is make it a showcase for the city. So an example, this is what you can do to these old homes.
Great. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
You have repeal time, or if you want to add any comments, you have 1 minute if you want.
I just, my only comment is, honestly, the city's been great to work with. We really haven't had any issues. It's been a pleasant experience, to be honest with you. So when I talk to people going through this process, I said, they go, isn't it a pain in the butt to do and stuff? I said, no, as a matter of fact, it's not. I said, I totally get it. I understand what you guys are trying to do. I embrace it, and we're happy to do these things. So to me, I think it's great. It's fantastic.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We are now closing the public hearing, and we can discuss the case between commissioners. Can start with Mr. Vela.
Oh, I just think it was a really nice presentation. The property seems to be going in the right direction with the guidelines. It's pretty exciting to see a house being completely restored in this manner and to such intricacy from its heyday. So I think I'm excited about it. I'm a little bit concerned, having that side access to the alley. I just get a little concerned because if that were to happen in other cases, that could be detrimental to the public realm of Ybor City because it's really walkable. We don't necessarily want a lot of cars crossing over sidewalks. And while just from aside from this case, while it's great to see a project get saved, I hope in the future that our street grid is preserved and we don't see any interstate widening, and that the public realm has always been part of the historic fabric of Ybor City, and I think it's something that we have to include as we move forward into restoring Ybor City.
No, I have no comments or concerns. Thank you.
I just want to congratulate you for taking this project and restoring. I know it's been taking quite a while. I went through one of the tours of Buildings Alive, and it was closed, but I know it was, I think, recently moved, and we were all, with big expectations, and it looks like you are achieving those expectations. Thank you.
Yeah, I would agree with everything that's being said, but I do have an issue with the way you're treating parking. To follow on your point, it's just for the amount of effort you're doing to restore the project and to turn it into a residence, the way you're proposing to park your vehicles is a very sort of suburban solution to a very urban plot. I know this is just ad valorem and it's part of the, are we approving a site plan as well at this point? If I could get clarification from staff?
Yeah, at this point, you're looking at the ad valorem, the features that were discussed this morning from the vertical aspect of it, what's in the interior and the exterior. So the site plan has already been reviewed through the office.
Okay. If staff has already approved that kind of configuration of parking, I would like to make the recommendation that then we look further at the materials to kind of minimize the amount of concrete. There might be a way to use brick or patterns to mimic or allude to a more traditional way that vehicles would have gone from one side to the other. For instance, you could have a concrete path to the alley, but then the what basically are parallel parking spots could be a different material like brick. Again, just to minimize the amount of concrete on the side of the property.
And that's a great point. That's what our discussion was. And I think on the information that he has, that's exactly what's called out on the site plan, that the throat from Columbus Drive to the alley is one material, is the concrete. And then as you have your parallel parking, it is brick.
Thank you.
Yeah.
No further comments.
Glad to hear about the clarification for the site plan and minimizing the use of concrete. Other than that, I believe you did a great job in what your vision for restoring the property. It's great to hear that you found someone who actually was born and lived in the property for a good portion of their lives and took their memories of the place and tried to use that as consideration for the restoration of the property as well. I think that's very well done.
Thank you. Do we have a motion?
So I move to approve the ad valorem tax exemption application. So what is this? So it's the pre-construction, part 1 pre-construction for the plans presented at this public hearing in case number BLC T19-03 for the property located at 1715 East Columbus Drive for the rehabilitation of this property because based on the facts and the record, the proposed building is consistent with the Secretary of Interior standards for rehabilitation and guidelines for rehabilitating historic buildings.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
We don't have anything else, right? So we can adjourn. Thank you.
Thanks.
They just gotta go do it. That's my preference.
How you doing?
But they'll see it again for part two, so that's gonna come up in their mind, because there's very little comments, so you'll be surprised at what they remember, so we talked about that. Historically, it was concrete. You know, with the pictures that I see, brick was more of a high-end detail. The transfer from the vehicle and the pedestrians as they enter into the property is concrete. So it would have to be a high-end.
Road in front of us
Well,
back